the Nurses Doing GAMSAT podcast, brought to you by Thankfully GAMSAT. We're here to teach you how to smash the GAMSAT, get into medicine, and become a flippin' great doctor. Hey, it's your girl Mare here. I am excited to do this solo episode for you where we're going to cover off what to do over the Christmas break to make sure that you are prepped. Now, I want to start off being a little bit of a Christmas Grinch where I want to talk about the Christmas period. Because there's probably a lot going on in your life. Whether you celebrate Christmas or not, it's this time of year that things get a little bit crazy. There's lots of Christmas parties. There's lots of, alcohol and food and family and expectations and things happening. And so I want to kind of be your guiding light in the GAMSAT world so that you know what to do during this time. And I'm going to really be blunt about it, to be honest, because I want to make sure that you are making the most of the time that you have. And right now, you are like training for the Olympic Games, except the Olympic Games have nothing to do with sports and everything to do with what's inside the coconut over here, what's inside your brains. So we want to be training like you're going for the Olympics, even though there's all of these distractions going on. So the way that I'm treating this Christmas period with my current students in our boot camp is that this is like a StuVac period. This is like a study vacation period, not a holiday. Let me say this again. It is not holiday time. It is time for you to get serious. It is time for you to get real. It is time for you to know exactly what you're studying, when you're studying, what you're doing, so that you can make a really big chunk of progress when everyone else is out partying. So there does need to be a little bit of planning so that this kind of goes really smoothly. And you know what? You can steal my kind of Christmas Grinch attitude when you're talking to family and friends, because that is going to be your first step. Your first step is going to be really planning to be able to set yourself up to be in StuVac. So that means telling your family, telling your friends, telling your partner when you're available and what your focus is. Now, this is a very, very, very short time in your life that you are going to be fully focused on the GAMSAT. Like realistically, for most people listening to this podcast, you're going to be focused between now and March. That is not a lot of time. Okay, so being able to set everybody else up so they know your priorities and they know why you're doing it. So when they say, hey, do you want to go grab a drink? So-and-so's in town. I think that'll be really fun. And you turn around and say, no, I don't think I can make it. It's not because you're being unsocial or because you want to be a pain in the butt. None of that. They know that your focus is on this one goal that you're trying to achieve. So the way I would be doing it is like, hey mum, hey dad, I know that so-and-so cousins are coming around. I know there's a lot to do for Christmas. I know we're going to be Christmas shopping, but I've made a commitment that this is the last GAMSAT that I ever want to sit. And so that means that I'm going to be a bit of a hermit crab during this season. So if there are expectations that you have on me, can we talk about them now? Like what Christmas presents you need me to buy, or what I need to cook for Christmas Day, or when I need to be available, because I'm pretty much not going to be available for all the extra stuff that might come up. I can only do for this short amount of time the bare minimum. Now, next Christmas, I'm going to be there with my Santa hat on and my Christmas ears and my elf earrings, and I am going to be able to help you till the cows come home, right? Like we can do this together. But this Christmas, like my Christmas wish is that I want to be a doctor, and this is what it's going to take. And so really having those conversations and mapping out what the expectations are so that you can put in as much time into your schedule as possible and focus on it as if, at the end of December, the exam is on. That is going to give you a really big head start timing wise. I also say to my bootcamp members, and shout out to any of my bootcamp members that are listening, that this is when we implement what I call the November rule. So the November rule actually happens all year round if you're studying for the GAMSAT. But we implement it in December, January, February really strongly. And that's when someone asks you to do something or something comes up out of the normal that you would normally want to go and do, or that's going to take your time, your focus, or most importantly, take your energy. You're going to say, no. No, as in November, the two letters that start the word November. You're just going to say no. And that might not be fun. That might not be what you want to actually do. But in the long term, we've got to look at this small little sacrifice of time you're going to be making and be going, this little sacrifice now means that I'm going to be a doctor for the rest of my life. So a little bit of sacrifice now is worth the massive reward that you'll get when you smash the GAMSAT, when you get into medicine, when you're actually practicing and you're saving people's lives every day. That's your profession. You're not even going to be thinking about this. So my first Christmas Grinch recommendation is set up expectations in advance and implement the November rule. It's November every day of the week now, baby, where we just say no, 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 no. Which then brings me to the next step, which is once you have the time in your diary, once you know that you can actually be focusing on the GAMSAT, what should you be focusing on, particularly over this Christmas period? And this question is probably bigger than just what I'm asking. So what I'm saying is, what should we do over the Christmas period? And if you are asking yourself that question, then we need to get a better question. Because Tony Robbins taught me, I don't know if you know who he is, he's this big rah-rah motivational speaker, absolutely love him, from the US. Good stuff and bad stuff about him, like everybody else. But he taught me that the quality of your life is dictated by the quality of the questions you ask yourself. So if you're saying things like, what do I do over the Christmas period? Well, it's really short-term thinking. It's really it's basically only setting you up until January. But we don't want to do that. We want to set you up from literally now all the way to the exam to make sure that you've covered off every single skill that you need to build. So first thing we want to do to maximize the time over Christmas is to get a plan in place that's going to cover you all the way from today, whatever your today is, whenever you're listening to this, till your exam day. And we want that plan to cover off not just knowledge. You know, a lot of people talk about chemistry, biology, physics, that kind of stuff, which obviously is important. You're going to need that. But you want to focus on the skills. So how are you reasoning through the questions, whether it's section 1, section 3, even the skills that are based in section 2? What we want to do is focus, firstly, identifying what those skills are. Secondly, having a way to build every skill systematically. And then 3, having the actual date that you're doing the process of building the skill. And so to me, that's a really big plan. That's not just what you're going to cover off over Christmas. That is everything that needs to be done. And then we can focus our time and energy over the Christmas time, which, you know, unless you're working full time, you probably got a little bit more time up your hand, like your sleeve, over the kind of December period, over the January period. Particularly if you're a student, like this is the time where you've got 5, 6, 7, 8 hours a day that you can focus on the GAMSAT without the distraction of uni. And if that is you, fantastic. Do that. Take the weekends off. Like, go have coffees with your girlfriends, your boyfriends, your cousins, your whoever's, right? Your friends. You take the weekends off because you know you've studied 30, 40 hours a week, right? You can have the time, but you got to focus during the week and then, you know, on the weekends have it off. Now, if you're working full-time, particularly if you're working shift work, this is when a plan for the whole GAMS becomes more important because you're not going to have more time over this period. So what we need to do is focus in and make sure, okay, I might only have, and I'm just going to pull some numbers out of my butt and say, I only have 15 hours that I can study this week. And I know next week I only have 15 hours, and the week after I have 20 hours, and the week after I have 10 hours. So you're going to map out what that kind of looks like between now and when you're sitting the GAMSAT. And most importantly, in the plan, you want to map out what are the actual things I'm doing within those hours. So us in the education world call this outcome-based study. I don't want just hour-based study, because what tends to happen is that you might say, I've got 15 hours to study, but then you spend 7 hours of those 15 hours faffing around looking for things to do. And that is not a really good way to focus in on what you're doing. So what we want to do is first identify what are the skills that I need to build. And if you need it, I'll link in the show notes. You can use our diagnostic test that's totally free to be able to help you identify what some of those skills are. The second step is saying, what am I going to do to build each of these skills, and how long is that going to take? Like, for example, if you need to build graphical interpretation, we might say, hey, if you're in the bootcamp, just as an example, you could say, I'm going to do this e-class, or I'm going to do this module in the bridging course, and that's going to take 45 minutes, and you're going to write down 45 minutes next to it. So you know the expectation of every single thing you're going to be doing to build each of those skills. And then the third thing is obviously mapping out exactly when you're going to be doing each of those skills. So this week I'm covering A, B, C, D, E. Next week I'm doing F, G, H, I, J. And then, the week after that I'm going to do the next thing. And mapping out to make sure that the actual hours that you're studying all the way up to the March exam or the September, whenever you're sitting it, is going to allow you to reach the goal because you have covered off every single skill. I hope that's all making sense. This is how I want you to be thinking about your study and planning for your study. Now, if you start to identify, okay, I have all of these things that I need to fix, but I don't know how to fix it, then I'm going to recommend going and booking a call with one of our team, and they can talk through what you kind of might need help with, or how the bootcamp can potentially help you to build those skills. Now, if you're in the I don't even know what the skills are kind of court, then you're probably a little bit behind the game right now, and you're going to want to book a call immediately with one of my team members, because they are going to allow you to see exactly what skills that you need to build so that we can help to create this plan. If you are in the court of, holy moly, I don't know, I know what these kind of skills are, I don't have any resources or ways that I can fix it in an efficient way, there is another podcast here about the bootcamp, about how we help students, exactly what's included. I would recommend you go and have a little look at that. And if you want to join the bootcamp, we are closing for the Christmas period. So the last day in office is the 19th of December. So if you're like on the fence and you're like, I'm not sure if it's for me, book a call and we can see if it's the right thing for you. If it's not the right thing for you, no pressure at all to join it, but just to check if it's right for you. If you're like, I am ready to go now, or I know that I'm going to need resources over this Christmas period, please get in before the 19th of December, because our team needs a little bit of a break between Christmas and New Year's, and we will not be reopening until the 5th of January. So I don't want you to kind of lose out in having the right resources over that 2-week period between the 19th and the 5th, whatever it ends up being, maybe 2.5. I don't exactly know the numbers, but I want you to be focused and have a plan in place. And so what our team will be able to do over the phone is to help you identify what needs to be in your plan, see if the bootcamp is actually right for you. It may be, it may not be. If it is, fantastic. They'll tell you exactly how to join. If not, they'll at least point in the right direction and tell you, hey, you got to go and do these other things, or actually, I think this thing might be right for you. But I would say jump in sooner rather than later, because you want to make sure that, particularly in that, that weird week between Christmas and New Year's where time doesn't exist. Like, you want to use that to your advantage. You know, every day feels really long. And like, I don't know if I'm up or down. Am I sleeping in? Am I staying up late? What am I doing? You want to use that, and you want to use that vacuum of like, you basically want to be in a bubble and create a vacuum so that you can fully focus on the GAMSAT and be getting through stuff, like really pumping through it. If you work full time and you have that time off, that is brilliant. Like, use it to your advantage. Do not think that this is the time to go, I'm going to go to the beach all day and I'm going to go sunning and I'm just going to leave it to January. Trust me, that is the easy way. Easy ways to say, hey, I'm going to put off study. I'm going to do it in January, start the new year fresh. There's too much going on. You will regret it. I never in my 18 years of speaking and helping with students have I heard a student say, I wish I started later. I'm really glad that I didn't take December to focus on my studies. I'm really glad I pushed that to the new year. Never. But a million times I've heard, oh my God, I wish I started this sooner. I really wish I'd started this sooner. So this is the wake-up call episode that maybe you needed to hear, that now is the time to get moving. Do not delay. You will regret it in March if you are not studying right now. You will not be happy about it. And I say this from a real loving place. Like, I don't want to rip Christmas from your hands. It doesn't mean you're not going to spend time with your family. We're just going to spend limited time, and we're going to map it out, and we're going to plan it, and we're going to make sure when we're not studying for the GAMSAT, we're doing things that energize us. So like, you know, I know sometimes we feel a little bit obligated at Christmas time to maybe do things that we wouldn't normally do, but then some of our good habits go out of the window. But I often think that when people feel that time crunch, everyone has the same 24 hours in a day. Some people have more responsibilities than others. Like, if you're a uni student with no kids, it's very different than if you're a working mum with 2 kids and you're single, like different responsibilities. But the main thing that drags people is usually not time. It's usually energy management. It's usually focus. So when you're not focused on study and you're not kind of expending your energy on GAMSAT study, learning and increasing your brain span, you know, when you're doing all those great things, I highly recommend that you're doing really solid recharge activities. So I know for Dr. Tom, for example, he needs to work out. He loves working out. He's a power lifter. He loves lifting weights. And if he doesn't, sometimes after a couple days, he gets a bit cranky, to be real. And that is a really good example of a healthy recharge behavior that's not just sitting on Netflix and flicking on TikTok and doing all the stuff that drains our energy. Now, it kind of sounds like weightlifting would drain your energy, and it probably would if you're not used to weightlifting, but it actually builds energy. It is recharging him. So it's a really good time to kind of reflect on, what are the things that energize me? Like, what can I do? And it's probably not going out for a Prosecco with a friend, you know, like, you're going to wake up, your brain's not going to be functioning that well. So how can we, you know, instead of going to the beach all day with friends and partying and all these kind of things, how can we maybe just duck down to the beach for an hour and go for a walk, or meditate, or be with a really supportive group of friends, not gossiping and negativity and fighting, Real Housewives style. No, we don't want that kind of behavior near you, because you've got to remember, you have limited energy. And how you expend your energy is going to dictate how well you're learning in the hours that you have. So if you only have 15 hours a week, you want a really solid plan. You want resources ready to go. You want to have full energy. So you're going to do it when you're the sharpest. And you want to make sure that your recharge has set you up to be able to use those 15 hours in the best possible way. Now, that advice doesn't change if you're studying 30 or 40 hours a week. Same advice. But obviously, you need to sprinkle the recharge kind of throughout the day. No one's sitting down and studying for 8 hours straight without moving. Like, that ain't the thing, right? I mean, if you can, good for you. But most people are not doing that. But then you got to think about, okay, what do my breaks look like? Am I just going on like Instagram or TikTok or YouTube or something like that? Or am I doing like a little walk? Am I having a protein shake? Am I like feeding my body in the way that it needs to? Or am I eating like candy and stuff from the Christmas crackers, kind of like, am I fueling my body the way that an Olympic athlete would? So I just want to make sure we're super duper clear on what needs to happen over the Christmas period. The first thing is we need a solid plan. Pardon me, I'm going to give you a little cough. You need a solid plan. You need to know exactly what you're doing when you're doing it. If you don't have that, please reach out to the team. I'll make sure that in the show notes, we have a link where you can speak to our team and they can help you make a plan. The second thing we got to do is know what needs to go within the plan. So if you have proper resources, fantastic, dive in, do them. If you don't, the office is closing on the 19th of December, not reopening until the 5th of January. So please dive in, get started with the bootcamp as soon as you physically can. And then, of course, if you want more information about that, there is a podcast episode. I'll link the podcast episode in the show notes just to make it easier for you. We are going to implement the November rule, right? You tell your family and friends, it is not December, it is November when you call me with last-minute invitations. And then, of course, we are going to recharge. We're going to make sure that you are doing the right thing to your body, to your mind, you're resting, you're engaging, you know, the best possible parts of you. You're not doing things that are going to drain you. Because remember, most of the time, it's not time management that is the issue, it's energy management. And so with that, I'm going to sign off for this episode. I hope you find it really helpful. If you know someone that's maybe a little bit procrastinating, pardon me, I'm going to cough. If you know someone that's procrastinating and needs this episode, please send it to them. Please go, hey, here's a little bit of love. I want you to get moving. Let's do this together. Or if you found it really helpful, please subscribe to the channel so that you can see what else is coming up. And I will see you on the other side of Christmas. Have a good one, guys. Bye. Hey, I have a cool gift for you, just for listening to the Nurses Doing GAMSAT podcast. We do some of our best work in our Facebook group called, you guessed it, Nurses Doing GAMSAT. It's free to join, and every day we're sharing actionable guides, tips and tricks, and really just how to smash the exam and get into medicine. You can join today by searching Nurses Doing GAMSAT on Facebook. Thanks for listening to another episode, and I'll see you next time.